Hello everyone, this is a video on my 1953 40 John Deere changing oil. So I want to make a video on it, and after sitting up over the winter, I keep my tractor inside, but there's a lot of tractors that may be in the barn or may be sitting outside. But what I do is, when I had a vehicle to set up over the winter, what you want to do is make sure that you shut off your fuel and actually your gas. I actually burn gas here, but just make sure you shut it off, because you don't want it to go into the carburetor, and of course it can do some damage there. I use non-alcohol gas. Make sure that you definitely use that. And from my understanding, if you do not shut off this valve, you can end up, when the spring comes, you can end up with excess gas inside of your oil pan. So with that said, I use a 1/8" wrench to take off my drain plug here, and I want to say I went ahead and took it off, and this is what my oil looked like, and I was pretty pleased with it. I have seen where there is gasoline that's mixed with the oil, and you really don't want that, but you definitely want to change your oil before you start to use it in the spring. So I went ahead and I took that off, and I have a washer here, and I wish I would have videoed it, but I went ahead and added an O-ring to the washer, just to make sure that I don't have any leaks. And I went around to the other side to take off my canister for my oil filter, and I went ahead and I did that already. So I use a 1" wrench to take my bolt loose, and this bolt will not come out, and it's held inside of the canister, and it has a spring in between it and a plate. So once you break it loose, you can just turn this canister out, turn around, and then eventually just pull it right on up out of the way. So once you do that, I'm gonna put it right over here to the side. So once you do that, you just have your filter, pull it out. Now, I have to say, I went ahead and I cleaned this. I went ahead and cleaned it, but before I pulled it out, when I pulled out my filter, I had oil sitting in here. So I took a rag and just wiped out the oil that was just settled inside of here. And it was pretty thick, and it was just a little, just gooey, like it's been sitting there for a while. So I believe in just every spring, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use my tractor. I use my tractor heavily in the spring, and I help out my friends, neighbors, and in the fall, I use my tractor in the fall. And you just never know what's in the crankcase, so I believe in just changing oil in it every season. So with that said, I have, and this is where you put your oil back inside of your valve cover. It goes down into your crankcase, and I use Rotella. This is what I use, Rotella 15W40, and that is what I definitely recommend that you use. You can't go wrong. And right now, I have put a gallon of it in there, and I got a feeling it's going to take a little bit more, because once I put my oil filter back in place and crank up my vehicle and let it run, of course, probably gonna lose a half a quart of oil out of my oil pan back up in my oil filter housing. And this is where you check your engine oil. So right now it's looking pretty good. It's right on the money. So I'm pretty sure I'm probably gonna need at least 4.5, and I think that's the recommended amount that goes back inside of the crankcase. All right, we're gonna walk over here. So I didn't get my filter from John Deere, and I got it from Advance Auto. So this is the part number, and Advance Auto and CarQuest, they hooked up there together. Part number, as you can see, is 85148. Now, and I like to compare apples to apples. Let me get this filter. Just a habit. I like to just make sure everything is pretty much accurate. That'll work. They look pretty much the same. It never hurt to do that. Now, you definitely need this O-ring here. You gotta have this O-ring. Okay, so we're gonna put this filter back in place. And I do apologize for not showing you when I drop the engine oil and so forth. But anyway, you definitely get the point. Let's see here. We're gonna pull out this O-ring. As you can see, it just sit in here. This is very important. Let's pull this out. Okay, let's drop this. Get a rag and wipe in here. Wipe inside the groove where the O-ring is going to go back in. Okay, get this new O-ring. Perfect. Get in there, girl. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna stretch this a little bit. Stretch it. Okay. Just make sure you don't break it. Stretch it a little bit. There she go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Let's put our filter in place. That's what we want. Okay, now, as you can see, we clean off the canister, we put it in the bar salt vat. So we're gonna just put this baby back in here. Okay. Just turn it around. Turn the whole canister around. Probably a good time to paint the canister while I got it off. Okay. That spring. Let's get a 1-inch wrench. Exactly right. We start turning the bolt. I took liberty to make sure that this is clean and of any kind of debris and paint. And I'm gonna have to get some spot paint and make sure my girls touch up with the paint that I did break off. I like to use my tractor for farming, cropping, and like to go to shows every now and then. All right, tighten up. I believe that'll do it. Okay, so as I showed you before, my dipstick is right on the full mark, but I know I'm gonna need more. So I'm gonna go ahead and empty out this gallon jug here. I know I need a little bit more too. That's not gonna be enough. I truly believe it's going to take 4.5. It's a known fact. That should do it. Okay, we're gonna turn the gas on. We're gonna crank her up. All right, now we're on the left side of the vehicle. And listen guys, I like to disconnect my battery. I like to disconnect it when it sits over the winter. I don't wanna buy any batteries. And I believe in using safety glasses. I don't trust any battery. Especially when you get ready to crank up a vehicle. They go on a great deal of, they have a great deal of load on them, and anything can happen. Find a hole. Let's see. There we go. Okay, should be good to go with that. I'm gonna turn on my gas, turn it back on. And listen, one thing about this, when I let her sit for the winter, I turn the gas off. When I know I'm not gonna use it anymore until the spring, I turn the gas off and I crank my tractor up and let it run and just let it drain out the carburetor. I just let it stall itself out. It just runs out of gas. So just gonna open that up and give her time to run in there, and fire her up. I got did. Turn on my switch, pull out the choke here. Maybe a little while before she starts.